Everyone wants moderation and compromise. They don't really want to do what it takes because we're not connected to everything. If you're connected to things, you realize what you do affects you and everything around you. And it doesn't go away, it comes back. We're the only creatures on earth that shit where we live. A dog wouldn't do that, a cat wouldn't do that. We do it, but we make believe it disappears. Oh, let's take everything and throw it into the water. Oh, it's gone. Control has grown from this, as well as the endless need to categorize, compartmentalize, and isolate ourselves from the balanced rhythm which has given rise to all life. Now, for those of you that are visual, here's what I want you to do. I want you to think of all of the universe, the totality we spoke about, like a beautiful wave that's contoured. It's perfect. It's contoured. Every wave is like the last wave, and it moves in a perfect manner. If you want sound, on top of that is a Mozart concerto, a violin concerto. So think of the wave and think of Mozart. If you ever listen to a Mozart concerto done by somebody like the Stockholm Philharmonic or the Gothenburg Philharmonic, phenomenal. That's why we'll always love a Mozart or always love the Beatles. Why? They tapped into the universal energy. Do you follow that? And that universal energy you can tap into too, but you don't have to work to do it. You have to let go to do it. You know what the difference is? Everyone I know working hard to be conscious will never become conscious. Because consciousness ideally takes no effort, it takes release. Disorder and one of its stepchildren, disease, has grown into the so-called norm. Look at not only our lives, but the life of the planet we reside on. We and it have been affected by this disconnect. Now, DNA. We are right now in the middle of a study with the University of California that we are going to disprove geneticists. What happened is a colleague of mine from Washington, Dr. Yu, was in California 2-3 years ago. They said, listen, we're going to work hard to show that all of my colleagues in genetics are wrong, that you can change the human body and change the discipline of genetics within a short period of time. So Dr. Yu, who knows us and sends patients to us when they're very sick, said, why don't you use Hippocrates? They've been doing this for 56 years now. So we agreed, and we've picked interesting people. In the whole world, when it comes to the sickest people, there's two that medicine admits they fail with. They fail with, in cancer, for instance, 93%. 93% of the people that are treated medically for cancer will eventually die from cancer. Now that's an appalling statistic, but it's a fact. Now, the two they admit that they fail with are stage 4 breast cancer and stage 4 melanoma. So who did we pick? Stage 4 breast cancer, stage 4 melanoma. And we're going to show just by radically changing their diets on high-density nutrients, low caloric intake, within 3 to 6 months, will change the discipline of cancer cells. Why? Because that's what we've been doing with hundreds of thousands of people for 56 years. You have to alter the core, the chromosome, the genetic, for the immune system to work along and to fight disease and to fight aging. Honest to God, I feel younger today than I ever felt my entire life, and that's how it is. Mapping this out will expose a distorted pattern and afford the way out of this dilemma. Now this is actually your DNA. Isn't that amazing? I don't think an artist could do such a beautiful job. Now, what I want you to remember, because this is really important as we progress here, that your DNA is made of 98% phosphorus, 2% oxygen. Do not forget that. You're going to see how incredibly profound this is. 98% phosphorus. All of this is born out of the sun. Then we go, how does the energy get collected? How do the frequencies get collected? On the leaf of a plant. Now, that's all we should have to do to write a health book. I should write a book called Eat Sun. The first page should have that picture. The second page should have that picture. The third page should have that picture, and then I'll put the end. And that's all you have to know about diet. Now, if you go beyond that with diet, you're having intellectual masturbation occur. That's it. Because anything else is an abbreviation of truth. So let's come back to reality again. Everyone here get that everything comes from the sun? All life comes from the sun? Anyone here not get that? Raise your hand. Okay, so 100% of us put your hand up. I realize, come on, let's say it. I realize everything comes from the sun. Second thing, I also realize I should be living green plants because that's where the most frequencies are. So what the hell are you eating then? You see how easy it is to understand this stuff? But people don't get it. They don't get it. Then it comes down to protein. How many of you looked at the magazine we gave you tonight? You ever see the muscles on people like me who build muscles? Do you ever see bodybuilders, Olympic level bodybuilders that we train on this diet? Do you know how many meat eaters come to us and say, I can't believe it. I'm stronger today than I've ever been. My muscles are bigger today. I don't have pain. And they have convinced Swedes and Americans and Europeans and people all over the world, you can't build muscle without meat. That's like all of you just said, I should be eating green leafy plants that are alive. But no, you let an animal eat it, chase the animal down, kill the animal, cook the animal, and say, I'm going to get as much energy. You think that's a little dumb? Let's say, it's really dumb. Raise your hands, it's really dumb. These create structure like earth and stone, plants and creatures, and even air and water. Everything within our understanding on this planet comes originally from the sun. Biology in its purest original sense maintain and balance interconnectedness that form the cycle of life on this planet. Now, Anna Marie and I, a few years ago, went back and got our PhDs in nutrition. And so I have 3 degrees now, Anna Marie has 2 or 3. And never once in any of our studies, and we had some pretty good studies, did we ever see the cycle of life. You know where I got that from? The Lion King and Walt Disney. The writers of The Lion King were smarter than the biologists were. Human development, evolution provoked the development of human brains and the anatomical so-called advancement of the brain. Think of that. We think our brain's smart. We're so smart that we created little red buttons we could blow up the planet. We put gasoline in our cars and charge you $8 a gallon to pollute the planet. We create electric cars now that pollute the planet more than the gas cars, for the people who don't want to feel bad about the gas cars. It's like endless ignorance. Our need to create the perception of solidity forced us to remove ourselves from the energy and balance of all other planetary biology, elements and structure. This is how we have estranged ourselves from the ionics of realization and well-being. So where consciousness comes from is an electrical field. Now, get this, and if you have questions, I'll answer them at the end. But it's actually a web of electrical charge. So consciousness, or wisdom, is what we call omnipresent. You don't have to work hard to get wisdom. You have to let go to allow space to allow the wisdom to come. There are certain inherent things that we all know, isn't it? The one thing we all know is we want love more than anything else. Is that not true? There's nothing you want more than love. And by the way, once you get enough love, there's nothing more you want to give than love. And that's really the perfect way. But to do that, as I often say, you have to fall back into the hands of God or the universe and just let go of your ego and self. It's hard to do. I talk about it. I don't do it all the time. Sometimes I think I'm smarter than God. But guess what? I'm wrong every time. Every time I think I know and don't let it happen, that's it.